Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to the wellness cooking session. You're here with Chef Martine down in Studio B at G-Bomb. Today I'll be showing you how to make a shepherd's pie. Traditionally, it's something you would make with ground beef or ground lamb, but today we're going to be making one out of chicken. So we're going to be utilizing a lot of ingredients that many of us have at home in our cupboards or pantries. We'll be using canned chicken, corn, peas, and carrots, and then some instant mashed potatoes. Now to that, we're going to be adding some fresh chopped onion, some garlic, rosemary, oil, and flour. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and heat up a pan. We're going to start it off at medium. We don't want it too hot to scorch anything. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in our oil once the pan's hot. Get that going, and then we'll go ahead and throw our onions up in there. And get them in there, and to that we'll just go ahead and put our spices in, our garlic, and then our rosemary, and we're going to put our flour in there as well. So once we get this going, we're going to want to go ahead and start stirring it together and get it all nice and mixed up. And this you're just going to go ahead and stir until everything's combined and it starts to turn a little brown. You'll notice that there will be a slight nutty smell coming from the flour, and that's when you know the flour is ready and cooked. See, now this is a good dish that you can go ahead and actually prepare ahead of time and cool it off and put it in your fridge and maybe pull it out the next day or later in the day and just go ahead and heat it through and finish cooking it off. So now that it's starting to cook and it's starting to combine, we're going to go ahead and add a cup of water. If you have some low sodium chicken stock or anything, that would be equally as good. We're going to go ahead and put that in there. And we're going to make sure we stir it all up just to make sure it combines through. So this is the part where you're going to develop a lot of flavor for the dish as a whole by letting all those spices and everything start to boil up in there and letting all that flavor infuse. So now that once we got that nice and incorporated, we're going to go ahead and add our vegetables and our chicken. So we're going to go ahead and get that up in there. We're going to stir and just combine it. And you'll see that the sauce is going to start to thicken up. And you want it to thicken up pretty good because that's going to hold together the dish at the end once it's finished baking. And this is something you could also incorporate if you have other vegetables. It's a good way to incorporate them as well. Okay, so once the sauce starts thickening and you'll see it pulling away from the bottom of the pan and it doesn't all run back together, then it's going to be pretty good. We can take it off the heat. We can come over here and we can go ahead and put it into our baking dish. So we're going to go ahead and spread that around. Get it all nice and flat. And then we're going to come along and we're going to take our potatoes and we're going to spread those out over the top. Now, depending on how big of a pan you're going to use is going to depend on how much potatoes you're going to need. So you might need a little extra or you might need a little less. So now you're just going to finish spreading out these potatoes all over the top. Try and get it as even as possible. Doesn't always happen, but that's what you do. So once you got those spread out, you're going to go ahead and throw it into a preheated 425-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so now after 15 or 20 minutes has passed, we're going to go in and pull it out. And you see it's starting to turn nice and brown. Getting like a nice little crust on top. So at this point you're gonna wanna let it cool down a little bit till you're able to handle it. And then you go ahead and cut yourself up a nice piece to serve. There you go. Now this I'd go ahead and serve with a nice little side salad, so that way you have yourself a good balanced meal. And there you go, buen provecho. This recipe and more is available at gbon.org, and check out our apps. Thank you.